All right, everyone, let's talk about food snobbery, our non-political video of the day. Talking about various cooking methods and things like that. Give some anecdotal tales as well. I was thinking about bacon the other night because I was having a pizza and it had some smoked bacon on it, actually, applewood smoked bacon. Really good, by the way. And it was done perfectly to my expectations. I believe bacon should be cooked till it's cooked through and leathery, but it's not too crispy and it's not underdone. I'll eat bacon anyway, like the Dutch sometimes eat raw bacon, and as long as it's farm raised and it's proper, you don't really have to worry about parasites from that. Common misconception, you actually can eat raw bacon. You can eat raw pretty much anything actually as long as it's farm raised to proper specifications. It's not really my bag. I didn't really like it as much as when it's cooked, but it's perfectly healthy. And I was thinking, when you make online content, I've got almost a half a billion views just on YouTube alone at this point. I have noticed something when you do like gaming, politics, style videos and stuff like that, you can skate. There's no problem. You'll get criticism, but there is no group of people that is more critical than foodies, people that are involved with cuisine. The most judgmental, the most insane of all of the content creation genres. I'm glad that I didn't get into like becoming a chef or something like that. Because if I was making that kind of content, it does not matter how you make the food. Somebody will complain. You made your tomato basil too creamy. You made your tomato basil not creamy enough. You didn't do the chiffonade correctly on top, with the basil or something like that. Usually that's for decorative purposes, but it adds more basil flavor, so it's okay. You made it too rustic. You made it too loose. You didn't make it salty enough. You made it too salty. This is just for one dish. I've cooked thousands and thousands of meals at this point and hundreds of recipes. Some of them I like more than others. Tomato basil and grilled cheese caprese is one of my favorites. Well, yeah, the grilled cheese caprese was too wet. Well, it was too dry. You used the wrong cheese. You toasted the bread too much. You didn't toast it enough. It's too buttery. It's not buttery enough. This goes on and on and on. Don't even get me started about photography with regards to food. I've put out pictures, for example, of some of the meals I cooked. There is only one exception to the rule where people didn't bitch at me, where at least one person didn't criticize me on how the food looked. And that was when I made cream of mushroom. By the way, which came out perfect. It was absolutely delicious. Way, way better than the shit that you get in a can, by the way. And I'm gonna have to make that again. That got gobbled down pretty quick. It was definitely a crowd pleaser. The only meal that I've ever really fucked up was the second time I made meatloaf. It's funny. I noticed that if I make a complex meal, I tend to ace it on the first pass. But if I make a meal that's relatively simplistic, like there's nothing, well, basically nothing more simplistic than meatloaf, sometimes I fuck it up. That was the only time. It was too dense. I mean, it tasted good, but it was just, yeah, I fucked it up somehow. I don't know exactly what I did wrong. I've made all sorts of recipes, mainly soups. That happens to be my forte. I sort of got the cooking gene from my dad. He was the head chef at the Mountain Creamery for 20 years or something like that, and he was a cook before that and did a lot of stuff. He worked at the Holiday Inn and did catering. He likes to cook a lot. He also cooks in the house here. I like to cook too. I can make pizza, although I can't make the crust myself. It's fortuitous because my sister, her fiance, actually knows how to, he worked in a pizzeria. He knows how to make a proper crust. So I'm thinking there's going to be a little bit of teaming up this summer. That sounds fun because I can make a very incredible pizza sauce. But if I take pictures of it, people will bitch about it. Pizza toppings, another great example. Well, you don't have any meat on that pizza. Ergo, it's bad. Well, you put meat on the pizza, but it's the wrong meat. Ergo, it's bad. You have too many toppings. You didn't add any toppings. That's not enough cheese. That's the wrong kind of cheese. The crust looks burnt. The crust looks underdone. You can't please everyone at the same time. In politics, it's the same basic way. You're always going to have your critics. But it tends to be more of an insular echo chamber than anything else. But with food, do sites compartmentalize that? Team pepperoni versus team, asparagus or something like that on the pizza? No, of course not. You could almost have like a football league, but it's actually soup making or something like that. Have the soup leagues. Here's Team Tomato Basil. There's Team Gazpacho. Here's Team Cream of Mushroom. There's Team Turkey Noodle Soup or something like that. It's insane. And I never realized this because I'd never really cooked until the last few years. Apparently, I cook fairly well. People generally have no complaints. In fact, sometimes they scarf bowl after bowl of my soup down. I make a good minestrone too, but my favorite is the tomato basil. You may have noticed this. Um, yeah, I've been in politics for years and years and years, doing current events, politics, and stuff like that. And so I'm used to criticism. Somebody will tell me I'm wrong on abortion, I'm wrong on gun rights, whatever. But it's a fairly limited number of people that are critical. Most people are like, oh, yeah, I agree, or they don't comment at all. But when I branched out, there's a reason why I haven't posted any videos lately of the food that I've been making or pictures of the food that I've made because it was goddamn vicious. Like with politics, okay, you're grappling with a couple of raccoons or something like that, and you have to whirl them around and defeat the raccoons. Those are your critics. With food, it's more like you've just been chained up to the wall in a cage with four rabid dogs, or four rabid pit bulls, or something like that. It's absolutely nuts. I never considered that to be something that would be so controversial. People are more protective of their food and their recipes than they are of ideologies that actually impact their broader life. This is what I've noticed. The photography, like, let's say I make my tomato basil. And again, my creamy tomato basil is very good. I'm not going to humble brag. I make it very, very well. With a nice artisanal bread, buttered, toasted, you dip that in on the side, maybe make a side salad. I make salad dressing well as well. I mix my own vinaigrette usually. Just a nice meal. If I had a professional photographer that charged $100 per shot to come in, put up the lighting, and take pictures of the goddamn food, I would still get someone bitching at me. It's amazing. It's inexplicable. I mean, I've had this experience literally myself. I couldn't understand it at the time. I'm like, hey, I made a Florentine soup. It's delicious. Oh, well, it looks wrong. Oh, there's too many peppers in it. There's too few peppers in it. That broth looks wrong. I'm like, what are you people talking about? I couldn't believe it when it first happened. But over time, as I posted more pictures and some videos of the food that I was making, people, I found out that most people are food snobs. Most people, not just some of them. Apparently, the only food that I can make and photograph properly is cream of mushroom. Well, I'll take it. At least I make one thing right according to everyone's specifications. Otherwise, it's basically like drawn combat. It's basically like people dig into the trenches and argue over how much tomato goes in the soup or something like that. It's really, really weird. It was an interesting experience. One that I would like to experience again, by the way. Once I get a proper recording set up, trust me, there will be more food material on the channel. That's about all. Peace out.